Morning, Carlos.
Morning.
Here we are, another morning, another weekend, another win,
Yes.
another clean sheet for you. It went well at the weekend. Just give us your reflective views on Saturday, if you could, please.
I think, like I say after the game, very positive result with a, for me, very serious performance. The first 50 minutes, we didn't fight the tempo of the game, but at the first 50 minutes, the team started to attack. And when we had the mentality and the determination to break the lines, the team were finding the possibilities, the option and the chances. And for me, the second half was just the continuity of this. And after we have some opportunity to score, at the end, in one set-piece situation, we scored the goal that allowed us to have the 3 points. In the last minutes of the game, when they were more directly and they start to play closer to our box, the team had to play with a lot of mentality to defend the result. So for me, this is the big picture of the game.
We spoke to Lee Nichols a few moments ago, and he said he didn't feel like it was the best performance. But then when you look at the stats actually look quite positive about the performance. Would you agree with that? Do you reflect that as well?
I think that sometimes the stats doesn't show what real happened, because are things that cannot be so in the stats. But if you compare what one team produce and what the other team produce, for me, we produce more things that they produce. So this is something clear. But if you think how many things we could try to produce, for me, is when you can see the gap of the improvement. So even if the team, for me, we were better than them, it's true that in some, for example, of the playing outs, we didn't play short when we could play short, and we divide the ball that after we lose, then every time you lose one ball, you are losing one opportunity to make one attack. So always for me, there are things that we can do better. And it was true that, like I told you, in the first 50 minutes, we didn't use the first 50 minutes. And usually we are one team that starts again with a lot of positive and energetic dynamic. But it takes around the 50 minutes to adapt to the necessary tempo to find solutions to adapt better in that game.
Another clean sheet, 4 in the last 5 now, clean sheets for you. How much of that goes down to the individuals and how much of that goes down to the system that you're playing? What do you put it down to?
Both things are together, because from the you have to try to help your players from the collective organization. But the collective organization doesn't mean anything. It's nothing. Then at the end, are the players the one that make it strong or not strong? The type of defense that you decide, that the shape that you decide, or the type of defense that you select that the team plays. So I think the collective organization need to help your players, and your players need to make positive the type of defense and the type of shape that you are using. So at the end, without the players, anything is possible. And just the organization have to be the target of the organization is just help your players to can compete well.
And how much of that organisation as well comes down to Lee Nichols in goal? 8 clean sheets in 15 appearances for him this season. How much of a role has he had to play, do you think?
Before I answer that question, I want to finish to answer the previous one.
Okay.
Just to the clear understanding. If you, for example, see one set-piece situation and you mark man-to-man, the organization help you that the players can defend well. If you, for example, are going to give to one small player in the marking one set-piece, one corner, you want to mark man-to-man, and you are going to give one player that is not tall, one of the opponent player that is one of the main headers, the collective organization is not helping the individual player. But as soon as you balance this relation between the two players, at the end is the player who need to make good the type of defense that you select.
Right.
Because at the end, you are going to have one challenge that if the player doesn't win, the defense is not working well. So for me, this is the relation between the collective organization and individual organization too. Now, talking about how much Lee Nichols is giving to the team, no, is the idea, the question. I think every player is giving things to the team. For me, the keeper is the first one to start attacks, and is the last one maybe to defend. Then the last one, I am thinking when you press, for example, you are making the high press, the strikers are the first one that start to have the defensive behaviors. But when you are in the pitch, everyone is going to affect the moment of the team. Everyone affect the moment of attack, everyone affect the moment to defense. I always say that the keeper have different responsibilities, but the main ones are the keeper, the defense of the goal. And we know that Linikos is very good keeper to defend the goal. The defense the box in terms of all the aerial balls, and we know that Linikos is a very good keeper in these type of situations. Defense the space between the keeper and the defenders, and he's one player that usually manages very well the distance between the defenders and him to the balls that goes in behind of the defenders. And after the distribution of the ball, and Linikos is one player, one keeper that can help the team in the distribution of the ball. So every time you have players with the possibilities that they are able to manage well the main targets of his position, always they are going to have a high contribution to the team when they are doing well what they can do well.
I'm loath to ask this question because I know Huddersfield Town fans don't ever like to be compared to the team down the M62 at Elland Road, but it's an easy comparison to make with your time working there and the way that you and your staff down there were able to get more out of a set of players who hadn't necessarily been Premier League players before and hadn't managed to get themselves into the Premier League. Do you see similarities with the way that you're improving this group of players and getting more out of them than they've maybe shown before, as in the same way that you did when you were working at Elland Road at Leeds?
I think it's totally different process. First of all, because in Leeds, the main person was Bielsa to do the process. Then we are just in different club and different process, and I can know, even if I was involved in that moment, now we are in a different club with different players and everything is different. What we try to do the same is like our target always is to improve the collective dynamic of the team, try to improve the individual level of the players and put the level that these players have in the highest level that they can perform. And after try to keep this level always in every game, that this is the highest challenge that we have. Because when you play like we are playing now after Tuesdays and after Saturday, Tuesday, after Tuesday again, the challenge for me is not only to make the player see that his highest level is in another level that he was expecting and to make him feel with the confidence to play in that level. The key for me after is to show that level every 2 or 3 days. So this is always going to be our target. And I think this target we will share with Leeds and we will share with many teams in our league, in the low leagues, in the highest leagues. So yes, I can tell you that for me, the main responsible to the achievement of Leeds was Bielsa. And after, that's why for me, I cannot compare the two things. In the Elland Road, Bielsa was doing an unbelievable job. And that's why Leeds achieved the Premier League. But this is something different. Now we are trying to be just focused in our team, in our players, and we try always to develop in the best way that we can our players.
So do you see the levels that the players expect of each other rising then? Do you see the standards that they've set getting higher and what they expect from their teammates and holding their teammates to account? That's important as well, that they keep each other on the right level.
I think, like I said from the beginning, that I have a very good group of players, in the ones that I have a lot of confidence from I arrived from we start to work here in the second season. I always say that I have a lot of confidence with my team, with my squad. Like every squad in the world, we have strengths and we have weaknesses, and our target is going to try to show always our strengths. First of all, realize and be aware about what are our strengths, and after be able to show these strengths every game, that this is the highest challenge. And always try to reduce our weaknesses, that our weaknesses are going to be the moments where we are not using our strengths. So we are very focused to every game have the necessary energy and determination to show against different type of context always our strengths.
Team news wise, ahead of the next one, how are you looking? Any new issues? I know it's only Monday, so you might not know just yet, but how are you looking?
Exactly. Now every player feel fine. The normal consequence of the high level of effort is true that the game against Millwall demands the highest effort of the team that the team have done so far in terms of the high intensity. For example, the other day we achieved from the plus of each player, the value that we have from the plus of each player in terms of the high intensity, it was 122% more of the average of the team. So it means that was the highest physical performance that we did so far. So it means that there was a lot of effort in the back of the 3 points that we won on against Millwall. And always when you have to do this, there are one part of motivation when you have the result, but there is another part, of course, that you need to now to recover, because it's true that to win these 3 points, we consume a lot of our possibilities in the deposit of the players. Then now the more important thing is to recover and be ready to put again all the effort in the next game.
So does that therefore affect what you will do between that game and the game on Tuesday? Do you change your plan of attack training-wise because they did exert more than you expected at the weekend?
I think we did exactly what I was expecting, that the game was demanding to us. And that's why when you asked me about Millwall before to play against them, I told you that it will be a very, very, very tough game. And was true what I told you, because at the end, in the GPS value, for example, you can prove that the game was necessary to put a lot of energy to win that game. So the only important thing now is to recover well and to put again all your energy to face another team that in different way is going to be very demanding. Because we knew that, for example, Millwall was one team that was very aggressive when they didn't have the ball. And now we play against Peterborough, that is one team that is very aggressive when they have the ball, because they always try to play every ball. It's one team that usually doesn't divide the ball. It's one team that wants to play every ball on the floor. Then even they are using disadvantage situation to try to have the ball. And it's going to be a very demanding game from the defensive point of view.
How good a side are they, do you think, then, having come up into the Championship?
I think it's one team that I was watching them the last year, because we have Brown on loan there. So like sometimes I like to be following the games. I was watching one style that they have tried to keep now in the Championship. And then it means that they have the habit to play with some of the ideas that they are coming from the League One to now to the Championship. I am thinking at the beginning they have more problems to get points, but in the last 3 games, they won 2 games, and they did these 2 games in a row. Switching a little bit the same, playing more 3-4-3, but for me, with exactly the same ideas that they were playing when they were playing with Lano 4. So just that the fact that for me, they are one team that they want to have the ball. In many of the games that they are playing, they have more possession of the ball than the opponents. In some of these games, they are having close to the 60% of the time the ball. So it means that it talks about what is the identity of this team. And after, for me, they are one of the best players for me, one of the best teams in the counter-attack, and they have important players like Kambi Dembele, that now is being one of the more dangerous strikers or wingers of the season. So I am watching one team with one clear identity that is going to be another demanding game, and they arrived to this game after one defeat in Swansea. That, of course, always the defeats came back with reaction from the teams. So I am waiting one team that is going to react, that they know how to do, because they were winning 2 games in a row. In the last 3 games, they won 2. So I expect another very demanding game, but being in another type of game that the game that we were playing against Millwall.
Thank you, Carlos. All the best tomorrow. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. We'll come to you, please, mate.
Hi, Carlos. Where are you at with Alex Vallejo and Aaron Rowe? Are there any sort of timescales on them at all?
Yes, Alex Vallejo is going to have today 1 injection. So he's going to come back to the trainings. He needs now 4 or 5 days after the injection to recover, but we hope after these 4 or 5 days, he be in normal conditions to come training with the group. So I think in the next week, he will come back to the trainings. And of course, we'll use all the international week or international break, the 2 weeks that you more or less have to work to prepare him to be ready, but he cannot train with the group until that moment. Then the other players are people, like I told you, he still needs time, because in some of the high intensity moments when he's using the high intensity, when he has the pain, then he's going to have another injection too to reduce the pain of the injury. So we hope that in the next 4 or 5 weeks, he has to make some trainings with one of the staff members and some of the players, but no collective drills, making more individual drills to come back to the football specific actions, even that with the fact that he's not using the high intensity until we are watching, or the medical staff is watching, that he can start to use. So everything is going to depend about what is his level of pain, and if the pain means dangerous or he needs just to tolerate the pain, something that with the next weeks, in the next week, we will know. Roach start to make some trainings in the pitch, but still with the medical staff. Around 4 to 5 weeks, I think he will come back with the group. Aaron Rowe still is managing the injury with the medical staff, and Ryan Scofield start to make some part of the training with the goalkeeper coach, still not with the group, but yes, with the goalkeeper coach. So I don't know if I forget any of the players injury now, but this is how the team is.
Okay. Danny Grant as well. We've seen footage of him on the training ground playing with the ball, which is great to see. How far away is he?
I cannot give you the answer because for me, we are managing his situation with the B team because he's a B team player. He's with the B team medical staff managing the situation. So I cannot give you now one diagnosis like the one that I told you with the players that are part of the first team.
Okay, fair enough. You talk about sort of players recovering, and Sorba Thomas has played an awful lot of football this season between obviously club and international. Is there a possibility he might need a rest soon?
I don't see now this type of need. I think he's a very important player in the structure that we are playing because it's positive always to have one of the two wing backs if we play with three that be a winger, because it may use the possibility to have a fast adaptation to the set two, because in any moment we need to play or to defend with 4-4-2, we can do without changing the players, and tomorrow this can be one of the moments of the game that we need to change our structure to defend them and to can be better, to can have a better structure and balance to defend them better. So when we have the possibility to have with one winger is very important when you are playing with two wing backs. So I think he's one of the players that is managing well the minutes, is recovering well from the games. And what sometimes I think that the player need to, this is what is championship. So at the end, championship demands that you need to be robust, that you need to recover, and you need to be ready to compete for everyone. So for me, the thing is like the faster adaptation the players does, or they have to do, the faster adaptation they do, the better for the team and to the performance of the squad. So for me, it's important. He's one robust player. He's showing he's the player with more minutes so far with the squad. And it's important that he learn how to manage this, to make a good recovery, to now put all the energy in his deposit, and tomorrow to be ready to put all the things that he has inside of himself after in the pitch.
When you have a win like on Saturday and you talk about sort of, important that you have a good collective mentality and so on, is celebrating a win part of developing that mentality and that togetherness?
I think it's very positive always when the players are making a lot of effort to achieve something. It's always positive for me to have the reward, because when the reward of what you achieve or what you try to do is going to strengthen your mentality to go again and to believe more and to have more confidence. But it's important too that in the moment that you don't have the reward of the effort, you have to continue knowing that the key to can have the reward is to continue keep going and keep doing the same things that you are going to need to can achieve the 3 points. Because as soon as you start to be beaten by the temptation to don't do the necessary to achieve what you want to achieve, at the end you are not going to achieve what you want to achieve. So for me, the fact that sometimes you see these rewards can strengthen the relation between the effort that is in the back of any performance to can achieve the results. But sometimes you need to see this connection too, even when you are not having this reward of the 3 points.
Yeah. How do you celebrate a win like that? Do you go out together? I know it was difficult, obviously, last season, but do you go out together, or how does it work?
No. There is no many time. I think we spend many time to prepare that game together. it's true that before to the game, we spend a lot of time together and watching the opponent and preparing the game. So as soon as the game finishes, for me, what they need is just total the opposite. They need their time, they need to be with their families, and they need to change their mind from football to can make the process that I was telling to you, that now the key is to recharge the deposit of motivation, of energy to after can put after in the game. So we need to, every player have different ways to manage this moment. This is something more personal. Of course, there are the rest, the nutrition, what they are eating. They need to be controlling these type of things. And they have the advice from the nutritionists and medical staff to help them to prepare their bodies to the next game. And after they need to prepare their minds too, because after one highest effort, in one league, you don't have many things to celebrate. You need to be proud when you do your best. You will be happy when after you do your best, you have the 3 points. But after, you need to know that our job and our role is to go to the next one and to try to restart again and accelerate the process of the recovery and the preparation, because just 2 days after, we are going to have another very demanding game that is true. And you will see tomorrow, like Peterborough is going to demand a lot of effort for us to have something positive.